Good morning, everybody. July 21st, Monday morning. Anthony SanFilippo's here. I'm Bob Wankel. New episode of Phightin Words. And we're bringing it in slowly because we don't have the lead in to let everybody know that we're going live on YouTube, on X, and all those different platforms. But Anthony, I don't know about you, but I got to the end of the Padres series before the break and said, I need a few days. I just need a couple days to recharge the batteries. I know you feel it because you're down there. You're going through the grind of actually covering it. I needed a few days sitting on the couch having some beers watching these guys every day. And I guess around Thursday, I started to Jones for it a little bit. I'm like, all right, Phillies are back. You get to the game Friday night, I'm fired up. It starts well. Schwarber's going deep. Harper swinging the bat well. And I'm like, all right, here we go. Second half charge. Fast forward 3 games, they lose 2 out of 3 to a shitty Angels team. And now here we are. And I'm like, I could use a break again. I could use a day off before this Red Sox series. But they're back at it tonight. Zach Wheeler on the mound. And it's just kind of more of the same from what we've seen from this team recently. And really just going back now, the last 21 games, everybody knows they're 20-21 overall over the last 41. They're just up and down. They can't get any traction, and it was more of that this weekend. Some bad, some good, some more bad. And so we're going to break that all down and obviously talk about the acquisition, reacquisition, third time's a charm, David Robertson. So where are you at coming into the show this morning? I can go a lot of different directions. I actually did some research today. I'm ready to go, buddy.
Yeah, no, I think the place we have to start, and it's weird because they lost 2 out of 3, but I think that the place that we have to start is this weekend, maybe not so much yesterday, but Friday and Saturday night especially. We basically got Bryce Harper saying, hey guys, you forget that I'm a former MVP? I'm still here. Yeah. Major League Baseball, you might not remember me, but guess what? I'm still a superstar. That's the thing I think that was most telling to me. And, we talked about it on the episode when he said out in San Francisco 2 weeks ago, I'm one of the best players in the game. And he gave a caveat. He's like, I don't like saying that. Right. And he said it out in San Francisco. He said, but I know when I'm feeling good, and I know I'm good, and I know when I'm feeling healthy, how I can be. And right now I feel like that. So that was what he was saying back then. And I thought, okay, well, he said it one time. That's fair. He said it 2 more times this weekend.
Yeah.
And that was a thing to me where it was almost like, this is personal for him now in a lot of ways. And I think he's saying it for himself because it's like, yeah, I am that guy. He's saying it for the league. Pay attention. The Phillies are still going to be legit because I'm here. But I think it was also a message to the team, let's not waste away one of the best players in the game. Let's fix this because we're not where we need to be. I think that in totality was the biggest takeaway for me from this weekend.
So you think it's 2 different things because we know that everything he does is very tactical and strategic, right? Measured. Yes. He always thinks about what he's saying and the ramifications of what he says. So you think it's twofold. Number one, hey, don't forget about me, but also now I'm doing this. You better not sit on your hands at the deadline and let this go again. I think it's really important not only for the team, obviously, that he turns back into Bryce Harper, but I think it's also important that he does it right now to give them some confidence to say, maybe this is worth being a little bit more aggressive than we would have otherwise been. I wonder if I'm Bryce Harper, he is so hyper aware of everything that is said about him, everything that is said about other players, how the league presents its players, its stars. And I just wonder if at some point he opens up Instagram, if he opens up social media, and he just sees all of these other players get talked about all the time. And he goes, wait a minute, I'm that guy. I'm him. Yeah. Nobody's talking about me. And not that they should. I mean, he was 790 OPS guy and not really doing anything in terms of being a difference maker other than getting on base walks. So I'm not saying that it's baseball's fault for not being dialed in on Bryce Harper's 2025, but I do wonder if that kind of aided him a little bit. I am that guy. I'm him, so to speak, and I'm not being treated like that. I better get it going. And now that he is, he's like, hey, heads up. here I come. I mean, I texted you yesterday. I was like, it's corny. I hope he doesn't do this, but like, it has that like forgot about Dre energy. Like, like, you legit forgot about me and now I'm coming for you. And I like that. I like that he's playing with his ass a little bit chapped right now. I like that he's maybe a little salty over the way things have gone, over the way that people have seemingly like glossed over his season, glossed over him as a player, as one of the stars of this game. And so you go back now and look at what he's done, and it's been like a meteoric rise. If you remember, I asked you, can he OPS in the second half 900 or better? Not to get his season total over 900, but just can he do it in the second half and be more of a difference maker? And after the 6 or 7 games that he's put together, even with an 0-4 or over 4 yesterday included, he is very much in that conversation as being a 900 OPS guy this season. Like, let's just go back to this. The game that they lost on the inside the park home run was July 8th. They lost 4-3. He closed that game with a 782 OPS. Even with the 0-4 yesterday, he's at 868. He was up to 881 after Saturday night. And in that time, he has 4 home runs and 7 doubles. And you go, okay, great. Like, it's a good week, basically. But I'll take it a step further. You look at the first baseman around baseball this season, qualified first baseman. He's 4th in OPS behind Bush, Alonso, and Aranda. He's 3rd in both slugging and on-base percentage. So even with a season that has been largely, I don't know if disappointing is the right word, but just whatever. It's been okay. He's still a top 3, top 4 first baseman in terms of his offensive output. And that's how good this guy is. And if he stays on it for another week or two here, you're talking about a guy when it's all said and done. He might have, I mean, Bush has been phenomenal for the Cubs, but other than that, like, he might be the best first baseman in baseball by the end of the year.
Yeah, he absolutely might. And that's what the Phillies need that. Let's be honest.
God knows they need it, because if he's not, I don't know, and barring like 2 major acquisitions offensively, like this probably isn't going to work out. Like, they need him to be that guy.
Yeah, he has to be. And I think he realizes he has to be. And part of me wonders, Bob, when you, and I don't know this, like this is pure speculation, but I've been wondering, could he have continued to play through what was bothering his wrist and continued to give us what he was giving us in May and early June before he left the lineup? And dealt with that like the rest of the year and been just an okay guy, but not the all-star caliber superstar that he is. Or did they look at it and go, yeah, you could play through that, but we tell you, if you could take a few weeks off, you'll be great again. And that's exactly what they did. And they looked at it and said, let's just do that rather than maybe, in other words, like, if he's having that same feeling in his wrist in October, September, he's probably playing, right? So, like, my point is that was it one of those things that he could have maybe played through anyway and just didn't? And just to get back to...
Well, I think you make that trade-off any day of the week. Like, you punt on a month to get this version of Bryce Harper, if he's going to be this version. It also could be, and like, look, like, I don't want to get carried away. Is it possible 2 weeks from now we say, hey, remember that little run around the All-Star break? That was fun, but where did that guy go? You get the feeling like this is, maybe he's not going to be this hot, but you kind of feel like, I don't know about you, I am infinitely more confident that you're going to get the difference maker version of Bryce Harper here on out. And you do that deal. And if you want to go glass half full after a weekend where things weren't very, very good all around, it was pretty, I heard the word uninspired quite a bit, both online, on the radio. And I think that's a fair word to describe what we watched. The glass half full version of this is that the Phillies survived his absence and that they are still in first place now going down the stretch. But on the negative side of things, like, you look at on June 13th, the Mets had a 6-game win streak. They had just swept both the Rockies and the Nationals to get to 45-24. And in the 31 games since, they're 11-20. If the Phillies, and you pointed it out last show, like, they've played a tough schedule. I think of their last 41 games, all but 13 are against winning teams. Or, all but 13 are against winning teams. And 3 of those games are that Angels team that they just played this weekend, who's a game under 500. If the Angels win their next 2 games, you'll look at the Phillies schedule and say they haven't played a losing team in the month of July. Yeah. So this has been a tough stretch, but the Phillies have failed to separate. They've come back. They erased the deficit that they created, and kudos to them for that, I guess. But with the Mets playing so poorly right now in this moment, you're like, damn, this Phillies team should be up 3.5, 4.5 games, not 1.5 game.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. Although I will say this about the Angels, watching those games, man, do they hit home runs.
You
Holy
kind of
hell,
like sighed, and we texted, over the weekend, and you're like, I still don't like him. And we know that your colleague at On Patterson, Tim Kelly, kind of has a man crush on Taylor Ward. I'm not telling you that guy is the solves everything here, but man, what a weekend for that dude.
It was a hell of an audition. If they're going to trade him. And look, I don't know what the Angels are going to do. I was pointing this out to Tim because as he was, he wrote a story about it on Patterson. And I said to him, the Angels might not trade these guys. He's like, oh, they stink. They're going to be out. They're going to trade. I said, if they played the 6 here against the Phillies and the Mets, if they come away from this road trip okay, the team they're chasing down is the Mariners. They have a 4-game homestand with them next weekend in L.A. Yeah. Like, that could be their season. If the Angels are within a couple games of a wild card spot, they may not be trading your Taylor Wards and your Joe Adells and Kenley Jansen's and whoever else you want to talk about on that team.
I don't know what to make of that team. I will say this. There are not many teams that have made the Phillies starting pitching staff look as bad as they were this past weekend. A lot of home runs. Their outfield was awesome. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that team. I thought they stunk after watching them this weekend. I kind of went, maybe they are the 500 team that they've basically been. I thought that they were overachieving to be 500, but maybe that really is what they are. I'm not saying that they're world beaters by any stretch, but they can do some things, and they can certainly do some things offensively. That bullpen, the shame of it is that the Phillies really weren't able to expose the one weakness of that team, like the real big weakness, which is its bullpen. Sunday it was non-competitive. Saturday night they run away. They do a good job there. Friday night, that's the killer. Like, that's a game you have to win. Games like yesterday, especially with a lineup that is thin as this Phillies lineup, and Ranger Suarez yesterday was just dismal and didn't really give the team a chance to compete and win the game. Those games are going to happen. This Phillies team is going to have those clunkers, but when you get a game like Friday night, those are the games the Phillies are built to win. You got to win them. You got to win those games.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. The one thing it's interesting you mentioned it, Bob, because I really hadn't thought about it, but you said that they did a good job against the Phillies starting pitching. And I know you got the back end of the Phillies starting rotation. You didn't get Wheeler or Sanchez. But I wonder if there's a little template there saying Phillies pitchers, or at least their starters, throw a lot of strikes. They fill the zone. Just attack it. Go up there being aggressive. I mean, that's what the Angels did all weekend.
Well, let me give you some numbers. Philly starters this weekend: Ranger Suarez yesterday, and then obviously Taijuan Walker and Jesus Luzardo on Friday night. 13 innings pitched, 24 hits, 13 earned runs. It's a 9 ERA, 7 walks. They allowed 4 home runs. It's a 2.38 WHIP. Can I just say, I know they're going to keep Taijuan Walker in the rotation until Aaron Nola gets back. I get it. They probably don't want to yank Abel up here again, who, by the way, was excellent again. Like, Mick Abel has mastered AAA. Like, he has mastered it's the International League, right? Still?
Yes.
These things always change. I think he has mastered that league. He cannot do any more against the AAA opponents that he sees than what he has done. I don't think they're going to bring him back up to make a start. I know Rob said that Taijuan's going to make his next start here. I guess it'll be against the Yankees on Friday. That's going to be exciting. I just have to say, I get it. They've kind of jerked them around, yanked them back and forth. I also will acknowledge that Taijuan Walker in 62 1/3 innings pitched this year somehow has a 3.75 ERA, which feels utterly impossible to me, frankly. It feels like it's a 6. 10 base runners in 4 innings, 9 hits the other night, 2 home runs. I'll say it again. I've been saying it for a calendar year. I just don't want to see this guy start anymore. It's a waste of everybody's time. It's an utter waste of everybody's time. He's a competitor. He's a veteran. Kudos to him for not being a total train wreck this year after a season in which he was. Like, I'm not trying to be snarky. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I don't want to see it. It represents 0 upside and a very likely outcome. I hate it.
Yeah, I hear you. And I don't disagree with you. I mean, I've not been a Taijuan Walker supporter, fan. I get to talk to the guy, and I do like the guy, but I
Yeah.
mean, I agree with you as a pitcher. He's not helping. He's not really helping the team, although they keep saying he is. And I guess in a sense, his willingness, as frustrating as it has to be, to bounce back and forth from the rotation to the bullpen.
The thing I always say, like,
yeah.
So there's the two things can be true thing. Like the Phillies have done a disservice to him in going from the rotation to the bullpen, back to the rotation. That is fair. And he has been a willing professional to deal with that. And he's probably frustrated by it.
Yeah.
But he created this situation. The Phillies paid him $18 million to come in and be a number 4 at worst type starter and give them some length and compete. And his inability to do that over multiple seasons has created a situation in which the Phillies have nothing but the ability to and choice to kind of do exactly what they've done with him this year. It's his fault, not the Phillies.
Oh, 1,000%. You're 1,000% right. I will say the other night, I don't necessarily think he was throwing meatballs up there. Like if you look at the 2 home runs that he gave up, both of them were balls. Both of them were out of the zone, and those guys hit those guys. That's why I was mildly impressed by the Angels, because they just go up there hacking, and they're hitting pitches that aren't, strikes out of the ballpark. Like, hey, good on them, for doing that. So, like, yeah, I felt like that one inning did get away from Walker a little bit. Some of the singles that he gave up, I thought those were bad pitches more so. I didn't think that the 2 home run balls were as bad. But you're right, Bob. I mean, look, he's going to pitch against the Yankees, and then that second start, I think, is going to come against the Tigers.
Yeah, that's not good.
It's not a good setup for him.
So you better go. I mean, I'll state the obvious. You better go and take care of business against the Red Sox. Now, the Red Sox win yesterday. They lose the first 2 games at Wrigley against the Cubs, but you are set up to win this series against Boston. I'm not saying you're going to sweep. I mean, Boston's playing good baseball overall over the last couple of weeks post Devers trade, but Wheeler on the mound tonight opposite who's the old Dodger is out there. What's his name? It escapes my mind. Who's going for the Red Sox tonight?
Oh, Walker Buehler.
Yeah, he stinks. He's been horrible this year. I think his ERA's over 6. And then I think they have a guy, Richard Fitz, going tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, opposite Sanchez. You better win these first 2 games of the series and then, see what happens on Wednesday. You're going into a Yankee series, and Yankees are not super impressive to me overall, but like you're basically just saying, like, simulation. You guys take game 1 of the 3-game set this weekend. I hate it. I don't think he gives them a chance to win. I can't stand it.
So let me ask you a question, just out of curiosity, because I was having this debate with Ant Jr. as we were sitting at the bar yesterday, but we had this debate the other day. He suggested this is before the Angels series, that the Phillies were making a mistake setting up the rotation.
This is on my list of things to talk about. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it sounds like you might agree with him. His thought was Zach Wheeler's the best pitcher in the National League. You should want him to start as many games as possible. If it doesn't matter if he has to miss a Yankees game, if he would have started against the Angels, like he should have started the first game Friday night. And then if he misses the Yankees, he misses the Yankees. So be it. Like you don't push it back so that he goes Red Sox, Yankees, Tigers. Make it so that he just pitches. He says you end up, and then this was what he was saying yesterday. You ended up blowing Friday because that game matters just as much as a game against the Yankees matters, and because you couldn't beat the Angels with Jesus Luzardo. Yeah, so I'm just curious if you're.
I agree. Like in theory, I would want my best 2 guys to come out of the gates, get me 2 wins right away, and set it up where they're making the most starts. At the same time, Jesus Luzardo at home against the Angels should be enough. You should win that game. You expect Jesus Luzardo to pitch well enough and compete and give you a chance to win that baseball game against the inferior opponent. If he does, even if they lose the way they do yesterday, say 2 out of 3 coming out of the break, good start. Now Now you have the Red Sox, and look at this, Wheeler Sanchez. Now you're going to be 5-1 or 4-1 out of the break, first 5 games. And then you're going to have Wheeler in the back end of that Yankee series. And I don't feel great about Walker, but maybe I can split the first 2 games. I mean, they did win. I will say they did win the Walker start this weekend.
Yes.
So I do have to acknowledge that. So you split the first 2 games, and then boom, oh, by the way, here comes Zach Wheeler on Sunday for the rubber match. And now I have 3 series wins out of the gate. I get it. I thought about it. I'm like, it's kind of weird to me that they didn't use one of their best 2 pitchers in this first series. But Jesus Luzardo also has to do a job. And if he does, then we might be going oh, look at this. This is pretty good.
No,
so, right. I think it's more about the result. I'm not saying it's a hindsight 2020 thing. I think on Sunday when you saw how they were setting up the rotation, you could have questioned the wisdom of it. But it's more about Jesus Luzardo to me, who still has now not made consecutive quality starts since May 20th and May 25th. By the time, he will have gone at least 2 full calendar months without doing that. And we can talk about the upside and the games where he has flashed and been just marvelous, frankly. But for every one of those lately, there has been an absolute flaming turd. And How many guys do you know would use the word marvelous and then turd 4 seconds later? That's it's just it's been really tough to comprehend, and at this point, it's just kind of what you have to, I think, expect from him. One other thing I want to talk about: Ranger Suarez yesterday was awful. There's really no other way to say it. And by the way, did I miss against the Padres? Did they correct his line after the fact? I thought so. He went 6 2/3 against the Padres, 3 earned runs. I looked up today, both on ESPN and MLB.com. I thought that they had charged him with an error and that only one of those runs was earned. This is dorky stuff. But did they do a after the fact correction?
Maybe
on that?
I don't know. I didn't get an alert about it, but I'll have to go back and look at,
maybe I just misremember and it was always 3 earned runs. But I thought that they had charged him with a couple.
Well, there were 2 errors. There was his throwing error, and there was Real Muto's throwing error. And I wonder if they may have changed it. I'll have to go look.
Yeah, I saw it, and I'm like, oh, wow, 3 earned, I thought.
There's a great Twitter follow for MLB scoring changes. It updates all those, so I'll go back and look.
I'll have to go back and look. So anyway, you look over his last 2 starts now, though, between the Padres game and then obviously yesterday, and his ERA has jumped from 1.99 after the Cincy game to 2.66. And I don't want to freak out after one game. He had a long layoff. Stuff happens. The guy's been the best pitcher in the National League outside of Zach Wheeler and Paul Skeens for 7 weeks. So this is what we're not going to do today. But what we saw happen last year is what does make me go, okay, hold your breath here a little bit. It's not that Ranger Suarez had a bad start. It's that Ranger Suarez did this last year. And that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah. By the way, Chris Fried says that
there you go. So I'm not nuts. Great. Thank you, Chris.
Nuts. Yeah. No. And so I look at it one of 2 ways, Bob. It's either, hey, the guy had a long layoff, a little bit rusty, couldn't command his stuff, whatever. Velocity was down even a little bit further than it usually is. That's but real. I'm just saying, that could be he hasn't pitched in over a week. Chalk it up to that. Let's see what the next start looks like.
Yeah.
And it might be that. And he might bounce back and be fine. Or it could be exactly what you said. It could well be, hey, this is one of the concerns with this guy is he can't do this over the course of 180 innings for a season. He starts to tail off in the second half of a year or if you're not managing him the right way.
Is Ranger Suarez the baseball version of Joel Embiid? 6'1".
Yeah, well, it's a fair question, right? And so I think now that puts so much more drama around his next start.
Yeah.
Right? It really does, which is it's going to be against the Yankees on Saturday. That's the one you get to sit there and go, okay, let's see now.
Yeah.
Are we going to get really good Ranger on Saturday, or are we going to get more of this leaky, not great Ranger? And now all of a sudden, the second half is a big concern. And I think next Saturday's start tells us that.
And I know you didn't cover it yesterday. You were drinking a couple brewskis yesterday during the game, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah, usually Sunday afternoon, I like to take off the Sunday afternoon games.
Okay, so
if it's Sunday night baseball, I'll go down. But
did
Sunday
you see what I saw yesterday with his body language? He looked like I got nothing. Like you don't see that from him ever. I thought he was visibly frustrated. You could see that he felt beat by them. I think that the Angels saw that he felt defeated. Very un-Ranger Suarez-like. The whole thing.
I knew from the hit by pitch. As soon as he hit Shinewell on the second batter of the game, I'm like, he's out. He doesn't have his stuff. He does, because he's not usually that guy where he's all over the place, right? And that you could tell right away. By the way, David Waitman says Ranger has better knees than Joel Embiid. So there you go. Yeah, good. But no, I mean, yes. I mean, that was like you could. I thought here was why I had an issue with the way that they used the bullpen Friday and Saturday. And I know you had to, because you had to pull Luzardo and you had to pull Walker at the times that they did. And so you knew that the bullpen was a little bit depleted. But they were using so many guys. They refused to make guys pitch more than an inning. Like, they have guys in that bullpen who in those games could have thrown 2 innings or 2+ and didn't do that. And so now you get to a point on Sunday where it was obvious early that Ranger didn't have it, and you couldn't save the game, or at least try to save the game, by getting him out sooner. You had to basically let him wear it for an extra couple of innings, or inning or two, at least an extra inning, if not an inning and a third, because you were so depleted in the bullpen. That's why I was a little bit more upset with what happened with the bullpen Friday, Saturday. It was so obvious. You could have pulled him at 5-0. And maybe had his chance.
You go back to that start against the Reds, and he's out after 5 innings. Oh, the plan all along was to throw him 75 pitches. We needed to give him some rest. And then he's out there dying at 100 pitches yesterday in a game that they have no shot to win. And like, where's the math in this? Like, where's that is a frustration of mine with the Phillies. I get it. You're right. But yesterday, to me, it's like, if you're going to be that aware and that concerned about his workload and usage, and yes, he had a longer layoff coming into this start, but that would have been an opportunity to save a few pitches there yesterday.
And Dave also points out, this was an important thing. The missed strike 3 call and then the 3-run double, that affected him.
I tweeted it yesterday, and I thought it was funnier than it got credit for. But every time Mike Trout comes to Philly, he gets a gift. Like, he gets the football. Like, Mike Trout, give me my football. Like, and then he gets a gift wrapped ball 4 on a very clear and obvious strike 3. It was a killer yesterday.
Yeah, I thought that was ball 4. I mean, strike 3 as well. But I did say to you in that same text message, strike 2.
It was borderline, but it was a strike.
I thought could have been called a ball.
Yeah, it could have been. That was a borderline pitch. If that were the pitch that we were discussing here, I'd say, well, yeah. That's also not how it works. Like, if you miss one early, there's no like, oh, my bad.
I'm not certain it was done as a makeup. I just thought his strike zone was pretty bad all around yesterday. If you watched the entire game, I don't know if you checked out at any point, but I thought that he had some.
I did. I'm going to be honest with you.
Well, that's fine.
Standing, I said that's enough.
I'm surprised he didn't toss Bryce Harper in the 8th inning. Harper got called out on a bad pitch, and Harper said something to him, waved his hand in his face, and then did it a second time and didn't get tossed. I think Harper wanted to get tossed and didn't. So, I think those things. I think that there was a lot of bad calls in that game yesterday.
All right, so work through this with me.
Yeah,
Alec Boehm probably out until mid-August.
It's got to be. I think it's got to be a month, right?
Okay. So you will see more Otto Kemp at third base, and maybe some Sosa at third base now.
Well, so here's the thing. So I asked Rob this question, and he basically said it was going to be a mix of Kemp, Sosa, Weston Wilson, and then depending on what they're doing with Stott at second base. But he's like, basically, it's going to be a mix of those guys. I'll tell you right now, and I like Otto Kemp's bat the best of all those guys. He just can't play third base.
Yeah.
He's not a good third baseman. He had 2 errors in the game yesterday. The one clanks off his shin. Like, I don't know what you do there, Bob. Like, it's unfortunate because he's got the best bat of the options, but defensively he's terrible.
Well, I think in a lot of ways you would rather Sosa be there, but then the issue is, and this is why I'm like, work through this with me. It's not so simple. Yeah. Then you have Bryson Stott, who over his last 15 games is hitting 170 with a 259 on base percentage and a 255 slugging percentage. That is a 514 OPS. I mean, I don't know what else to do here. And I think that the lineup was pretty telling on Friday. Over the weekend, he plays. He's hitting 9th. To me, it's like a signal of where else do we put you? I know that you can spin that and say, well, you're kind of like a leadoff hitter. You're like our second leadoff hitter in the 9 hole. That's not what that is. I mean, the guy's not even getting on base 26% of the time. He's not a second leadoff hitter. We don't know where else to hit you in this lineup without absolutely murdering us. They're running out of places to go with Bryson Stott. And by the way, I'm saying his last 15 games, he's hitting $170. I haven't pulled it up in the last 2 weeks. Go run the last 365. Go back to July 1 of 2024 and look at Bryson Stott's numbers. I promise you, across the board, bottom 7, bottom 8 hitter in pretty much every key statistical category. He's
other than the first 3 weeks of this season when he was actually pretty good. Because I think he was hitting like 301 on April, whatever it was, like that towards the end of April. First 3 weeks of the season got off to a pretty good start. Yeah. And then it completely fell off. So whatever he had going, whatever. I mean,
so all that is to say, like, I say this to say that you are in a spot where you have to play Sosa at second base with some consistency. Like you how many places can you put him in?
He's going to play against left-handed pitching.
Yeah.
And that's something that I wanted to kind of bring up because I actually asked Rob about. It was another interesting thing. I don't want to go off on a tangent, but there was a spot in the game on Saturday. Now they win the game, but there was a spot in the game on Saturday in the 6th inning. This is right before the Schwarber Grand Slam, where the Angels went to the bullpen, bring in a hard-throwing right-handed reliever, and the Phillies are down 4-2, 2 runners on, 1 out, and they sent Rojas up to bat.
Yeah.
And they have 2 lefties on the bench, both in Stott and Kepler. And I pointed this out on Twitter, like, what does this say? Yeah. And I wasn't criticizing the decision, not saying I would have pinch hit in that spot because the way Stott and Kepler are going, I'm not sure that I would. I think maybe Rojas might have been the right choice there. But it doesn't matter to me if Rojas hits a 3-run homer, hits the sac fly like he did, or strikes out. The reality of it is that the Phillies would prefer to have Johan Rojas, of all people, batting in that spot against a right-handed power reliever than either left-handed batter who we were told were full-time starters on this team. And that to me was the most telling thing of that sequence.
Yeah, I would get it more of an indictment on Max Kepler in the moment. But I'll tell you what. I thought that it was plain as day. You come out, you see Kepler hitting 8th, Stott hitting 9th. I think that it's a signal that we just don't know where else to go with you guys. But in that moment, to go Johan Rojas, like I agreed with it. I said, let Johan Rojas sit here. And you know how I feel about Johan Rojas offensively. We've had that conversation a million times on the show.
Right.
But at least with Johan Rojas, like, here's what I will say. At least there's some energy. At least there's the possibility of chaos or a four-hopper that he beats out or something. Like, Johan Rojas at least gives the lineup some energy. I mean that. Like, Max Kepler, like, we can talk about Max Kepler in a second, but I just want to finish the point that I was making. You go back to July 1 of 2024. There are and this is amazing. This is an amazing list. There are 4 players with a worse OPS than Bryson Stott in that time. All right, Bryson Stott, 639 OPS since July 1 of 2024.
Is this just qualified hitters?
Qualified.
Yeah.
So he has been dreadful. Adley Rutschman, 627. Luis Robert, 621. Miguel Vargas, 609. Joey Ortiz, 603. Bryson Stott is just at a point where, like I said a couple weeks ago, like you have to start wondering, like, is this guy not only a part of your plan in the second half as you're trying to chase a championship, but is he your guy in 2026?
I think that's a bigger question, Bob. I mean, I'll give Tim Kelly credit. Like, he asked Rob point blank if there was a thought of, at some point, of optioning Bryson to try and get him fixed, and Rob flat out said no.
No, and I get it. Like, he can give you a competitive at bat at times and see pitches, and he's really good defensively, and the Phillies defensively stink. And so, like, do you want to remove Stott from that equation? Like, that's fine. I'm okay with that. Great question by Tim. I think that that's a fair question and one that should be asked. But I get it. Okay, you want to roll with Bryson Stott for a minute of this year. I just don't know that you can continue to plan out and say, well, we're going to bring a guy that's basically coming to the plate. And by the way, it looks bad. It looks like 630 on merit. He doesn't hit anything hard. He can't hit the ball over an outfielder's head to the opposite field. Everything used to be like liners over the shortstop's head. Like, that's gone from his game entirely. There's way too many pop-ups. You look at the Baseball Savant page, which I know sometimes people roll their eyes at this stuff, but like, go look at the swing speed. Go look at the average exit velocity. It looks like he's swinging a telephone pole when he's up at the plate. Like, he just can't get through the damn zone, man.
Here's an interesting comment from Kyle. Stott arbitration number this offseason is going to be interesting.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I think he'll be here. I would be surprised if Bryson Stott wasn't on the 26 Phillies, I guess. But if he were anybody else, and I will say this, there's a part of me that's like, this guy gets a pass. Like, not that people don't realize that he's struggling, but I feel like we all just have this thing with him. We're like, oh, it's Bryson Stott. Like, go figure. We kind of like Bryson Stott. You know, he gets the benefit of it. I think the Bryson Stott is obviously, I know he's been way worse than Alec Boehm this season. Way less valuable. And myself included. I'll be the first to go get Boehm all day. Stott, I'm always like, gotta be a little bit more here.
And I think that the difference is, Bob, is like we look at Bryce and we look at Alec Boehm and we see what we see. And we sit there and go, this is what this guy is.
This is what it is. With Stott, you're like, this can't be it.
Right. And Stott, you get to sit there and you think there's more. And it's frustrating to watch it not come to fruition. So I think that that's why it's not necessarily him getting a pass, but it's more that we give him more rope.
Yeah, well, right? Guess what? I mean,
the rope's running out.
Yeah, the leash is gone here. I mean, we're at a point where it's like, yeah, I mean, I like the idea of what he can be, but it's just not good enough. Yeah. Now, as far as speaking of it's not good enough, Max Kepler is down to 204 with a 660 OPS now. You know, he has not had a hit since July 9th. He's 0 for his last 13. His last 18 games, I know that that's super arbitrary, but I'm just using it, which I believe dates back to the Mets series where they won 10-2. I think it was the first game of the Mets series.
Yeah.
His last 18 games, he's 8 for 57. He's hitting 140 with 1 home run. He has a 435 OPS. I do not like to be a prisoner of the moment, and I always feel like when you start to echo the things that everyone else says on Twitter, and I'm not saying that everyone's dumb, but I just don't like to run with the crowd a lot of times. But everyone's like, you got to DFA this guy. You got to DFA this guy. You can't play him anymore. And like, I'm right there with him. I am stunned that this guy's still on the team. And I guess this is a roundabout way, 11 minutes or so later, is Alec Boehm's injury somehow keeping Max Kepler on this team? Can we not do this anymore? Can we turn the page? This guy, Anthony, stinks. I haven't been down there. I haven't covered the 25 Phillies, 44 games at home. Kepler's batting 201. David Waitman, thank you. That's a great number. So what's he hitting on the road? 210? He sucks. This guy stinks. He might be a nice guy. He might be great. I have no idea. I don't know. I don't care about him as a human being, though. Like, go be a great person somewhere else. Go be a great person with the Rockies. Like, I can't do it anymore. This guy stinks. He sucks.
Yeah, I was honestly surprised, Bob.
Anthony, he blows.
I was surprised that on my way to the ballpark on Friday, by the way, Dave Waitman says it's 2:06 on the record.
Well, at least he's consistent. You got to give him that.
Yeah. On my way, I was surprised that on my way to the ballpark on Friday, that I didn't get an alert from the organization saying that they had made a roster move and that he was gone and somebody else.
It has to happen. I can feel it. It's like the wind. You know, when you go outside, it's like the third week of August and school's about to start. And Kyle would rather watch Darren Ruffin laugh. Yes. Like it's the third week of August though, and it's starting to get like darker earlier. Yeah. And it was like 86. It was still summer, but like you're cutting the grass. It's like 6:30 at night, and you feel that cool little breeze come in, and you just feel it coming. That's what I feel this morning. I went outside to take the trash out, and I just felt it in the air. I'm like, the Max Kepler DFA it's here. It's coming. It's gotta be coming.
It's gotta be. Like, and I agree with you. Like, there's no use for him right now. Here's the problem, though. And maybe the bone injury does kind of keep him here temporarily, because I thought we would see Justin Crawford for 2 weeks before the trade deadline. And now I'm starting to believe we're not seeing Justin Crawford before the deadline. I'm starting to believe that he's a name that they're thinking about moving potentially in one of these trades, and they don't want to tarnish.
I wouldn't.
His numbers.
Yeah, leave him down there.
Yeah.
You want Justin Crawford to come play for you? Then we'll do that August 1.
Yeah. Right. So I think that you look at, and this is an interesting note from Sean Crowley. They're banking on that short porch and right at Yankee Stadium this weekend for Kepler. But all joking aside, I could see a world with that being the philosophy that we're not going to call up Crawford because he could potentially be moved. If not, Max Kepler's out of here at the deadline, and then the replacement comes in at that point. So we only have to tolerate having this guy around for another 10 days.
He's so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Is he in the lineup tonight? He's in the lineup tonight, right? If he's not DFA'd, he's in the lineup, isn't he?
Probably.
Oh, God.
Unless you're going to do something
be careful what you wish. I mean, I guess though.
Well,
so I am then asking if he is DFA'd for Johan Rojas to start in center and Brandon Marsh playing left. And I think I'm okay with that. I am comfortable with that.
You could do that, or if you're not starting Rojas against Walker Buehler, and you're starting Marsh in center, you could put Kemp in left, and you could put Sosa at third.
I'm okay with both of those options.
Yeah. Okay,
I'm there.
That's what I'm saying. If you're DFAing him today, those are your two options.
Do they still have I'm going to probably out myself here, but like they still have Cal Stevenson or whatever his name is running around Lehigh Valley?
Yes.
All right, bring him up. I mean, come on. Cal Stevenson's going to give you less than Max Kepler right now?
I know fans always
say, they don't want to admit they're wrong. They don't want to admit their mistake. Dave hates admitting mistakes.
There's a lot of money. There's a lot of money tied up there.
Gregorius back in the day, they unloaded Whit Merrifield, like maybe a little bit more slowly than people would like, but they will do it, I think. But it's time. It's time, man.
It's absolutely time.
Those are the things so those are the things I want to talk about. We didn't talk about the most important thing here.
Well, we have two more big topics to discuss today. The first being the signing of David Robertson. And then we also have to talk about John Middleton's comments on Friday night.
Yeah.
But let's start with David Robertson. Phillies, we briefly touched on this a little bit ago because there was some talk. There was a rumor out there. I don't know. It was about a month and a half ago, I guess it was, that the Phillies were talking to David Robertson still about the potential of coming in, but that the conversation was that Robertson wanted $20 million, I think, or the equivalent prorated of $20 million at that point. And the Phillies balked at that, and they didn't want to do it. But you knew that there was always interest, right? And that the Phillies looked at it and said, there's at least something here. Robertson pitches for teams and scouts on Saturday in Providence, Rhode Island. And from what it sounds like 4 teams were really interested in him. 4 contenders were really interested in him. Phillies, Red Sox, Mets, Yankees, and the Phillies won out on this. And I know, and I want to go with this too, because this is the thing, Smy Guy is very upset about it, right? He goes, why David Robertson? He was washed in 22. Be a serious organization, please. And my response to that is this. What does this hurt?
I'll take it a step further. I'm going to get the red pom-pom shaking, the red and blue pom-poms as I say this. David Robertson instantly becomes their 3rd best reliever.
Yeah.
I don't want like a feeling out period. 7th inning, runners on 1st and 2nd, 1 out. Get your ass in there. Go. Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no hurt with this.
It's a shade under $6 million for the remainder of the year. Be a serious organization. That's fine. Like,
well, it's actually more. That's what David Robertson gets.
Right.
But because they go above the 4th luxury tax threshold, it actually costs the Phillies about $12 million.
Well, so to me, I'm like, that is a serious organization. It's a financial commitment with the caveat, which is like, you better do something else in 10 days.
Yeah.
If David Robertson, if the idea is, well, we got David Robertson and Jose Alvarado is going to come back in the middle of August, and then we'll convert our starting surplus to the bullpen, which is fine. And I know that's part of what Dave said, John said on Friday night, Middleton. That's okay, but there's got to be another guy here. Like, there's got to be an adult, as I would say, that comes in and can get you out in the 8th and 9th as well.
So maybe, so this kind of ties into what Middleton was saying on Friday. One of the things that Middleton did say is you can't trade everybody, and so it's kind of the Phillies basically saying, yeah, we're going to be aggressive here at the deadline, but we also don't want to burn the future. And so maybe if you're thinking the Phillies are going to add 2 arms at the deadline, well, maybe Robertson's one of the 2. He's the lesser of the 2. They're still going to get a big arm. They're still going to get that chase after a closer, back end of a bullpen guy. But that they look at David Robertson and say, he can fill the role that a Dennis Santana.
All right, so dream with me here. Yeah. And certainly he has not pitched this year. That is fair. He did struggle, as was pointed out. He appeared cooked. He has not been particularly good with the Phillies, especially. It feels like he's been pretty good everywhere else except here.
He wasn't terrible last year.
Terrible here, but he wasn't like...
No, last year in Texas.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm getting to. He pitched 68 games last year. He pitched 72 innings over 68 games. He only allowed 53 hits. 5 home runs in 72 innings. He struck out 12.4 per 9 with a 1.11 whip. In this bullpen, holy shit, that's like Cooperstown. Like, you're straight to Cooperstown.
Yeah. I mean, he does walk guys. That's the one thing with Robertson.
Yeah, he walked about 3.5 per 9 last year. Certainly, if he were able to replicate that production here, it would be a massive win for the Phillies. I don't think he will. But even if he's in the ballpark of that, I take that. So now... That all said, if you get a decent David Robertson and you do go out and get a legit guy for tight situations, and then you get Alvarado for the remainder of the regular season, and then you do some of this transitioning from the starter surplus to the bullpen, do you feel like Robertson, future closer type, Kerkering, Strom, starter that becomes bullpen arm, let's say it's Jesus Luzardo, because that's who I think it will be. You good with that? I'm out on him. I'm out on Spencer Turnbull. But it's a great comment. I love it.
Should have signed me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But I mean, like, that to me, I think is enough. I mean, I think that's enough to win a World Series. That also, I mean, the offense is a whole different conversation. I do not believe. Sure. I actually think that by the middle of August, I would be surprised. I'll say this: I would be surprised if the Phillies get to a September or get to mid-August, get to September with a bullpen that I can kind of look at and squint and say, I think you can win a World Series with this bullpen because of the starting rotation and this group of relievers. I think there's enough on the pitching side to win a World Series. I would be equally surprised, though, if I was looking at this lineup saying I believe in this lineup to win a World Series.
Yeah, no, so that's the thing, Bob. Like, the one thing that, everybody is so, and I sit again, I love sitting at the bar on Sunday because the bar that we go to is very full of Delco baseball fans, Delco Phillies fans.
So, are you saying that they're stupid? That's what you're saying. You hear things that make you want to rip your hair out.
It's Delco, baby. It's Delco at its finest, right?
Rob Thompson, this fuck.
But the bar is pretty full, right? Like every Sunday, and it's always conversation about the Phillies every Sunday that we go out there, and it's nonstop misery. It's constant misery. But if you look at and I sit there and I try to tell people, I say, listen, I'm in agreement with you that there are major flaws. This
lineup stinks. It does, and the
lineup is not good. You're right. You're all 100% right. With that said, it's still good enough to win right now because, and I know you shudder at that. Do I think that they need to improve? They do. They do need to improve it. I don't know how they're going to improve it.
16th in baseball in home runs per game. 16th.
Yeah, I know.
Built the slug.
But the thing of it is that the more I watch these other games and watch these other teams, it's the same everywhere. It's really the same everywhere.
Well,
you might have teams that hit more home runs or have better power than the Phillies, but they can't get on base. So it's boom or bust with those teams. It's crazy how bad the sport is right now.
Well, you know who's going to win? The team that can't hit at all. The team that I think is going to win the NL right now is the Milwaukee Brewers. And I know it's easy. And I said this last week.
Possible.
I said this last week. It is not after they just swept the Dodgers. Dodgers can't score all of a sudden. Like, forget the fact that they average like 4 innings per start, their starting rotation, because they're hurt all the time. That was sort of the deal last year, and they made it work. It was fine. They bullpenned their way to a World Series. It was not pretty or aesthetically pleasing, but it worked. The difference, though, this year, like, is if Mookie Betts is going to be like, Nick Castellanos. Nick Castellanos, I think, is like OPSing like 60 points higher than Mookie Betts right now. Like, if he's not Mookie Betts, then like that doesn't work. Even when you get Muncy back,
it's crazy. And then I don't know if you saw Freeman got hit on and they said, "Oh, we're lucky." Well, are you?
Yeah.
Are you lucky? I mean, I don't know. I mean, that Freddie Freeman doesn't take himself out of a game.
But I mean, this is the frustrating thing. The Cubs are starting to separate here a little bit now, but like the Dodgers, 16 games over 500. The Mets, we already talked about what they're doing. The Cubs, they look right now like they look legit, but the Phillies have played well against the Cubs. You're right in that it is open. These teams are flawed. The Phillies are certainly far from perfect. I think they need to do a lot. I'm curious though to see what they do. Like the trade deadline landscape. Like, you come back to what's going on, and like, the Twins 3 games under, the Guardians 2 games under. We talked about the Angels. Like, they have a big week ahead of them right now. Like, they could be sellers as well. The Orioles are going to sell at this point. Like, I'm quite confident that we've arrived at the Orioles being out. I think that they're actually starting to signal to the media, to their fan base, that yes, like, we have guys that are coming up on expiring deals. We're going to have to entertain it. Those teams, I think, are all going to be sellers. It's going to be really interesting to monitor what happens over the next week or so with teams like the Giants. I know that they're only 2.5 games out, but like, they haven't played well lately. They've lost 5 straight games. Are they legit or are they not? Like, they can't hit. So, like, let's see what happens. The Cardinals are in the middle of a free fall. 3-7 in their last 10 have lost 3 straight. Like, they were a team that looked like a playoff lock for a while, and they've totally faded. There are teams that are coming into this that'll have interesting pieces. The Phillies, it's so simple to say, and I hate saying it because I'd like to bring added value to people that listen to this podcast. But if the Phillies are aggressive at the trade deadline, they could get to August and have on paper the best team in baseball, and they could go win a championship. But if they putz around here and they tweak and they go get like right-handed Max Kepler and like one other uninspiring bullpen arm, like it's not going to be enough. You cannot go into October to wrap all this up to what like Bryce Harper said, like, I'm one of the best guys. Don't waste this. You better not waste it, because if you do enough, like, you can put yourself in the driver's seat. And if you get to Halloween and they don't win it, you can say these guys just didn't have it. They weren't good enough. But it better be because they weren't good enough, not because, damn, they could have won it and they just didn't do enough. They were just too afraid to trade Mick Abel or Crawford or Aiden Miller.
If here's the thing, if your acquisitions here at the deadline are, let's just play this game with me. So David Robertson's the first, and let's say your other two are a trade with Baltimore for shits and giggles. It's Felix Bautista, and then you get Ramon Laureano as the outfield bat because he can kill lefties and can play some center field if need be.
Yeah, I love it.
Is that enough?
Is it enough? Probably not, but it's a move that like I go, okay, like it makes them better. I'm asking for get better. Like if you can give me two of those moves, like two moves, I can swallow that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's got to go out and be like the headline blockbuster because I like you don't know that exists.
Yeah. No, I don't.
One other thing I do want to ask you, the Buxton comments at the All-Star break. They're like, well, I'm going to be a Twin forever, and I feel great about that, or whatever he said with his no trade clause.
Yeah.
Was that absolutely sincere, or is that just like a public posturing, and then, they come to him and say, like, Byron, hey, buddy, what do you think? And then he goes, okay.
Well, I will tell you that anybody with a no trade clause in any sport, all it is leverage, but they frequently get, approached by the team saying, hey, you willing to waive this? What do you think? What do you, and those conversations happen all the time. And I think if the right situation were to crop up for a guy and they look at it and they go, oh yeah, absolutely, then I'll waive that no trade clause. Right. But they hold it as leverage over the team so that they just can't get shipped off anywhere for at any time. It's more about, I want some control over where I go. So yeah, I mean, could that potentially happen? Could Byron Buxton?
Well, you will love this. Alex Carr, who you may come across on Phillies Twitter, he's a big prospect guy, and he points out that your boy Luis Robert is hitting .267 with a .353 on base percentage and a .507 slugging percentage across his last month and a half of play.
Yep.
He's also hit .301 with a .376 on base percentage and a .519 slug against left-handed pitching across his career. A trade for Robert Jr. makes more sense now than it ever has for the Phillies.
I
am waiting for this to happen. This will be the ultimate vindication for Anthony SanFilippo.
I'll die on the hill that I think I look at that guy play and I say there's a lot of talent there and it just needs to be harnessed somehow. And is it a guarantee? No, it's not. But is it something that maybe because of how bad his season has been, you can now get him for far cheaper than you could have before? And then you take that flyer and say maybe you put him in the pressure cooker of a playoff situation and he suddenly finds that level again? And how great would that be, right? Could be a disaster too. He come in, it could be worse than Max Kepler, and then everybody hates it. It's a risk, but sometimes, in my mind, the biggest risks are what you need to take in order to get to that championship level. It totally
it can't always just be let's do the obvious thing. Let's go down the aisle with our shopping cart and point at the most expensive, shiniest object.
Yes.
And that will fix it. You do have to do things where there's some upside and some risk and some value potentially tied in.
Yeah.
Okay,
I know it's been over a year I've been on the Luis Robert.
You have. And people have been reminding you about it. Like, he sucks. This guy blows. Like, you just see his last 10 games. He's hitting .040, Anthony.
Yeah, I know. People
and then here he comes to be the trade deadline piece that wins them the World Series. I love it. Real quick, just a little roster configuration thing here. Robertson comes. When will this happen? Can it happen tonight? Is he here?
I don't think so. Like, I think he's probably looking at about another week. Okay. If I had to guess, I got to imagine that he needs some kind of ramp up.
All right. So a lot of things can happen between now and then. And you obviously have the deadline and maybe something happens earlier rather than later. And then other guys come and go here. But right now, if he were to just show up, let's say between the Red Sox and Yankees series, Who is that? Who's the odd guy out here? Is it Seth
Probably
Johnson?
Seth Johnson,
Yeah.
I think.
Okay.
I think that they've liked Daniel Robert a little bit.
He's
Like,
been
I think
good.
that,
I mean, 5 games this month, he hasn't allowed a run.
yeah. I mean, I know he struggled a little bit in that one game that they asked Romano to make the 5-out save and didn't happen, right? That was the one game Robert struggled a little bit. But other than that, I think that they'd like that arm. And so I think Daniel Robert stays. So I think that Seth Johnson would be the guy that goes out. Yeah. Yeah.
Got it. All right. What else do you have? Anything else?
The last thing that, were you surprised at all with Middleton saying that Abel and or Painter more so because everybody else in the organization has been so adamant that that's not going to happen, that they're not going to turn him into a reliever in October, for him to suggest that could potentially happen? Did that catch you off guard at all, or
a little bit? I think that maybe some of what we've seen with Painter, though, over the last, whatever it's been, 5-6 weeks, I don't feel like that his on-field production should change the evaluation of what Andrew Painter could be. But if he were what they had hoped and performed the way that he had hoped at AAA, I don't think you would have heard John Middleton say this. So now I think what they're looking at, though, is they're saying, well, we have a plus arm here who might not be ready to make consistent starts and pitch deep into games for us right now, but we'd like to find a way to use those innings. So maybe now we need to be a little bit more creative because he's not exactly where we want him to be in terms of being able to go through an order 2-3 times. So has Andrew Painter's on-field performance changed the evaluation of what he will be after this season? I don't think so, but maybe in terms of the immediate plans, yes.
And I think that was the most telling thing about what that whole interview, we were there, and Tim and I were, asking the predominance of those roster questions, because it was meant as an all-star game announcement press conference. Yeah, nobody cared about it. Nobody gave a shit about it. Other than some people freaking out that they replaced the clock in center field. I don't know if you noticed that with
the
that
analog.
The analog clock. Like, Tim wrote a whole story about it. I'm like,
Tim loves baseball.
He does. But the thing of it is that there are other people who are talking about it. And I'm like, I can't believe that. Like, this is one of those things that I'm the old man, right? I don't understand. I don't understand that the aesthetic quality of things.
Was it the vet? They had the MAB paints clock.
Yeah,
wasn't that?
Yes, yes, it was.
Where is? I look forward to Tim's future deep dive on where the MAB clock is. It's somebody's house and somebody's garage in South Philly somewhere.
Somebody's got it somewhere. But the point is that I thought was most interesting is right before he mentions Abel and Painter going to the bullpen, he tells a story that Dave Dombrowski told. Now, you know that when Dombrowski tells stories, it's usually the reason he's telling that story is it's an indicator for something that's coming. And so Middleton retelling a story that Dombrowski told him kind of set up the same way, where he says, I was sitting down with Dave, and Dave was talking about 2006 when he was running the Tigers, and they were about to play the Cardinals in the World Series. And they didn't think much of the Cardinals bullpen at the time, if they thought it was just average or mediocre. And then the Cardinals put young Adam Wainwright, into the back end of that bullpen, and it changed the bullpen, everything about that bullpen. And then the Cardinals went out and beat the Tigers in the World Series with Wainwright on the mound as the closer. And it's like all of a sudden those guys all pitch great in the playoffs.
You know, the flaw in this fable is that's Adam Wainwright. He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, but he was a rookie then.
I understand. Yeah. But they gambled on a guy that then turned into a Hall of Famer. Do you think that 2025 Mick Abel is at the 2006 Adam Wainwright portion of his career?
I'm referring more to Andrew Painter.
Okay.
Yeah. That's it. So that's why. So that when he tells that story and then 2 minutes later says, "Oh yeah, Painter can come up in that role too," it's like that's the light bulb going off in my head. Like that's what they're going to do. They're gonna treat Painter like the Cardinals treated Wainwright.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't hate it. I want to see Andrew Painter pitch at the major league. Everyone wants to see Andrew Painter pitch at the major league level, and if this is what's going to get him up here, then let's go do it and let's see what that looks like.
Yeah. Anyway, so That was the one thing.
The next 10 days, like, can we punt and not do a show until the deadline? Can we just wait and
well, we got two good series.
Two great series, and there will be takes, and
yeah,
they need to play well this week, and a lot of moving parts. There's no question about it. But I said it a week ago or 2 weeks ago now. By the way, now I'm standing. I'm standing at the desk.
I see you pacing.
I got my McAfee thing going on here.
Yeah, you're pacing.
Football. I just think I'm at a point where I have nothing else to say about this team. Like, I can react to what I've seen, which we did today. But like, let's reconvene on August 1, and we're going to do a show Friday. But like, let's convene on August 1st and be like, okay, is this team going to win a World Series? Can this team win the World Series? Or is this a waste of time until the NFL shows up on September 4th? Yeah, that's how I feel. That's how I feel about this team. And I'll get a part. I will end, and I know we're going to do one last thing, but I'll end by saying this. The fact that it's July 21st, and multiple times this weekend in the moment as I watch these games, that this team stinks. But I can wake up this morning and go like, they could win the World Series.
They can.
And I think, and
I still won't pick it.
To be clear, I don't think they will, but I think there's something valuable. Like, I would just ask fans two things. One, I totally get it. You can be frustrated as hell and be like, I'm so over this. I'm tired of watching the same guys do the same stuff. Like Nick Castellanos comes up and it's a double play in the first inning yesterday. And like, you can be so over that. And you can be frustrated that the problems that this team has are the problems that they've had in the past couple years. And like, that's fair and fine. And boy, do I feel you on all of it. But there are not many years where you can get to July 21st of a baseball season, be in first place, by the way, in a wide open sport, wide open game, and say to yourself, this team could win a World Series. And like, they're here right now. We're not doing this on April 1st. We're doing it on July 21st. Like, there's something to be said for that. And, I think sometimes you just have to kind of take a deep breath and let that kind of resonate a little bit.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I won't. I'm with you, Bob. Like, I can't today sit here and say, oh, the Phillies are going to win the National League. And I'm not certain that come 10 days from now after the deadline, I'll say that either.
Yeah, I don't either, actually,
right?
To be honest with you. But
I don't know. But can I sit here and say that you're crazy if you think that they will? No. They have as good a chance as any team in the National League to be in this World Series this year. They really do. The Cubs, I think, are probably the best team in the National League, but I don't love their pitching. And so we'll have to see what they do at the deadline. Beyond that,
one more thing, because like this, I just popped up on my news feed here. It's not breaking news, but this is from Ken Rosenthal. Miller on the move. A year ago, Athletics closer Mason Miller was untouchable. To this point, the A's are messaging this season, we're not talking about him. It's pretty much the same thing. But according to sources briefed on the team's plans, that stance is subject to change. The way the A's see it, only a few teams are bold enough to propose an offer for Miller worthy of consideration. General manager David Force might engage those teams as the deadline nears, but for now, he appears willing to let them grow more desperate. Which teams might tempt the A's? The Philadelphia Phillies, who reached agreement Sunday with free agent reliever David Robertson, probably would be number one on the list. Dodgers, with free agents Tanner Scott and Kirby Yates performing below expectations, almost certainly would be in the mix. So would the New York Yankees, who faced the losses of Devin Williams and Luke Weaver to free agency. Do anything for you?
So obviously everybody loves
it. Won't go away. This name won't go away.
I mean, there's something for me for bullpen guys. Like, I want guys who've been in the in the shit before. And what I mean by that, like, be in the heat, be in games that have mattered. Like, there's something about that, having that it factor. And I'm not certain that Mason Miller, I mean, like, the arm's electric, but when has he ever pitched a game that mattered?
Yeah.
And that's the one reason why I pause on that. If you're talking to the A's, I'd rather you're talking about Brent Rooker.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. You get no argument from me there. All right, let's get to one last thing. Just
One
because
last
I don't
thing,
want to do a 2-hour show today.
Yeah, no, one last thing, and it was like a really weird one, and it doesn't surprise me because I know of the issues that this guy has had with Philadelphia fans, specifically when his team is here. He's had some run-ins with them in the bullpen specifically. But did you see the thing with Braves Braves coach Eddie Perez and Jazz Chisholm with the Yankees over the weekend, where he pointed to his head or something, kind of like threatening him, and now the league is investigating this because then Perez comes out after and says, no, I like the guy. I'm just telling him to think before he does something stupid. Or is he saying
what was he doing? He was picking up signs while Volpe was up. Was that the big
Yeah, it's basically he was relaying signs in from second base to Volpe, and Eddie Perez didn't like it, and so I don't know. Is he threatening him when he points to his head, saying we're going to bean you, or is he, just
use your head?
Yeah, use your head, right? And what is your thought on it? Like, is this something the MLB needs to investigate? Like, I don't know.
Apparently, they are.
Yeah.
You know what my thought is? It's not so much about this particular situation, but we've always talked about the Atlanta Braves as being A-tier organization. Everything the Braves do is the standard, and they're smarter than everybody else. And look, you're entitled to have a down year every now and then, and they certainly are having one. But that team and that organization over the last couple of years, you start to scratch your head a little bit at where they're going and what they're doing. Like, I don't quite understand what the Braves deal here. It felt like for a while, like everything they did, everything they touched turned to gold. But then you go out and you sign Michael Harris to a long-term. Oh, wow, they're out ahead of the curtain. The guy stinks. He sucks.
Yeah.
And I look at the Olsen over Freeman thing. Like, I don't think that hasn't worked.
Right.
I mean, I know he had the one big year where he had 50 home runs or whatever, but he's not Freddie Freeman.
Right.
Austin
Riley hasn't been as good. Ozzie Albies is not.
No, and guys having down years and stuff. Like, I'm not going to kill their front office for that, but look at what they're trotting out there at shortstop. We talk about this team and the holes it has. I mean, the Braves. I don't know, man. They got guys that are OPS and 550 playing shortstop for them. We'll see about the Braves.
Yeah, but I just thought it was weird.
Cooked.
Yeah.
How about them on Saturday night too? The Braves. They come out Friday night. They win Friday night, right?
Yes, they won Friday and then lost Saturday.
They're not going to get back into it. They're probably going to be a seller. They got some older parts that they can maybe part ways with. Does Ozuna go at the deadline? You think?
I think so. Yeah.
So and they have things that they can do, and I'm sure that they'll be. I guess I think they'll be back. They always tend to be in it. But Saturday night, I'm like, all right, they win Friday. Now you're up 5-0, 7-2, and they lose the game.
Yeah.
And then they lose again yesterday, and you're like, God, this team just can't get it together. Like, if I would have said to you 2 weeks ago, there's a shot in hell that the Braves just kind of get weird hot. Like, Albies, I think, is starting to swing it a little bit better lately. They could get weird hot, right? You look at that lineup, and they just can't.
Yeah. I don't know. The only guy that's consistent there is Acuna. And by the way, that throw from right field was pretty fun.
Freaking awesome. I know the guy has to slide and everything going into third, but also, can you blame him for not sliding? Like, do you think there's any way that that's going to be a play at third base? So
yeah, I know. Yeah.
That guy's an all-timer. He's awesome. I hate that he's a Brave. That he's a Brave.
Yeah, he's pretty damn good.
Yeah. All right. Good. Well, get us out of here.
Yeah, that'll be it for us for today. Thanks for tuning in. We know we didn't give you a show on Friday. It wasn't much to really talk about coming off the All-Star break, and Bob and I had busy schedules. But we'll be back this week. Oh, by the way, prediction, Bob: Phillies do win this series against the Red Sox.
Yeah, 2 out of 3.
I like it. I like them 2 out of 3 as well. But anyway, so we'll be back on Friday to talk about the Red Sox series, look ahead to the series in the Bronx with the Yankees. But until then, be sure to subscribe to Phightin Words on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Pandora, wherever you get your podcasts. But the best place, of course, as always, is to find us right here on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube, click the thumbs up, ring the bell. You'll never miss a show. You'll get an alert whenever we go live. And if you're listening in the podcast feed and you want to find us on YouTube, it's youtube.com/@Phightin Words. So for Bob Wankel, I'm Anthony SanFilippo saying thanks for tuning in to Phightin Words. We'll see you again on Friday.